Welcome in, everybody, to the Sports Analyst Podcast, where we are anxiously awaiting the coach of Ryder Lions to just STFU and let Ryder sign already. Jessa, you are on the scene, boots on the ground. What's
Yeah,
the
kind
update?
of. I'm Instagram Live. You do you see who the camera's on? That's a sign that somebody is still yapping. Someone just commented and said, "I will literally Venmo you if you will shut up." And then someone else said, "Put the coach in Folsom jail." Dude, too bad
Hilarious.
coach. Too bad coach doesn't have a mic because then someone could unplug it. That's too good. So he will eventually sign. He's got a big BYU flag. Oh, look, he's putting up his
Oh
BYU
yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
All
So
right.
it's official. It's
So
official.
we're good. He's signing right now. I'll turn that off now. Good job, Ryder.
Jacob Jacob just said, "All right, I'm out. I'm diagnosing Coach Yappington with narcissistic personality disorder."
That's
Oh,
so good.
as you guys can tell, we are in much better moods today than we were last time. Surprise, surprise. Um, yeah, amazing work by BYU. We have to give BYU credit for actually doing the deal. I am still upset that it took that long, and I don't like all the rumors that BYU was like slow to listen and understand and slow to righteousness. But at the end of the day, the deal got done. Kalani seems happy. Jessa, I was watching the press conference thing, which was super weird, by the way, with the way they had Keith working like step in for 2 seconds to read a letter and then step out, and the
Who is that?
assistant president, athletic director, like chief something or I don't know, alphabet
Okay.
soup. Some, you know what? Since this goes on YouTube, I won't say what I was about to say. But he's important enough at BYU that he's the one that gets to read the letter. But again, Kalani in that presser sounded like he got what he wanted. It sounded like it was about staff and commitment, and he sounds very happy to have gotten what he wanted. I don't think this is a situation in which Kalani caved and said, "Okay, fine, I'll just sign because I want to stay here more than I want to have a competitive football program." It seems like BYU has fully committed. Jessa, did you get that same vibe from him, from everything that's
Yeah.
been going on?
Yep. I felt like BYU is fully committed and Kalani is fully committed. And whatever crap went down behind closed doors, the resolution was positive. And what I love
Yep.
about it, to your point, is Kalani got everything that he wanted. And I have faith in Kalani's vision for the program. When
Absolutely.
somebody asked him in the presser, was this a difficult decision? I think that was the question they asked him. And he said it was, and it wasn't really that difficult, right?
Yeah.
And he basically talked about why he was interested in Penn State. And he said, I've never wanted to leave, but at the same time, I'm a competitor. So if I have an
Right.
opportunity to go take care of my people at a higher level somewhere else, that's why I would consider leaving. And he got what he wanted. He can do what he wants at BYU. And I don't even want to consider how stupid it would have been for BYU to let him go. But hearing him say that, it just solidified how stupid BYU would have been to let him go. So
Yep.
let's go. We predicted it, right? We knew they were going to
Yes.
be signed.
We
We knew it.
totally we talked it into existence. We manifested.
Yep.
Shout out to all the memes about the crumble stuff, like that Dark Knight one that Jacob sent with the it's perfect, perfect. I loved it. People at work were talking to me today, like, wow, like can't believe that crumble guys like coming to your aid, and they're like, did you donate? Like, 'cause that's awesome. Like, so this is like a national wave thing that BYU kept Kalani. Like one of the guys at work, a big college football fan, is like, hey, this is like we were just talking about, it, and he was like, BYU basically put their hand up and said, "Hey, we are competing with the big boys. Like everybody's talking about them, like, oh, they don't have enough money, they don't, they don't care enough." And they were like, "No, yes, 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 we do care, and yes, we will care." And I thought that was really cool coming from people that are outside of BYU, so that it's not just us, kind of like speaking these things into existence, half hoping that that's kind of what it means. No, this is BYU has sent a message that we are not a feeder school. We are here to stay and we are here to compete. Um, it comes at a perfect time, right, with the Big 12 championship coming up this week. But I think whether or not we win, we can be happy and optimistic about the future of BYU football.
Yeah. Two things to your point. Number one, like you said last time, if we didn't sign Kalani, it would be us turning the ship, right? We would be headed in a different direction. The fact that we signed him, to your point, I think we can be optimistic in the future. That's a sign that we are full steam ahead, competing with the big boys. If money now is an indicator, is like a data point for the committee and the powers that be in college football, this experience has been a message to the nation that that is our data point now. That can't be a data point that hurts us anymore, right?
Right.
Especially
Exactly.
not compare us to an Indiana, right?
Yep.
We're now. I don't think we're on the same level as an Ohio State or an Oregon or USC. Yeah, right. But like
Yet.
right, in Indiana, I think we're more than Iowa. We can do all the numbers another time, but it's kind of crazy. Who would have thought? If you would have told me 10 years ago that this would be the case. And then the second thing I was going to say was missionary tool. The fact that you live in Georgia and you've got
Yep.
people coming to you who know you're a BYU fan and talking about they couldn't get Kalani to leave Provo, couldn't take a Mormon out of Provo, like conversations like that. Like Amelia said, that's a net
Yep.
positive or neutral impression of the church.
Exactly. Exactly. It is amazing that this happened, and I am so glad, so very, very happy. Um, just to hit on a couple of things of what this means moving forward. We talked about having that stability. We talked about putting that investment forth, but like it also happened a day before like National Signing Day. I almost said recruiting day, but it's signing day technically. Um, this is going to be one of BYU's best classes, right? Like what the great timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. And it doesn't happen, I don't think, without, I mean, I'm fairly confident this doesn't happen if Kalani doesn't sign, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't sign an extension. So top 20 recruiting class and only growing if we
And this
get
is
a
in the
certain,
country, everyone. Top
yes,
20 in the country.
yes.
Um, I can remember 4 years ago doing a podcast with my buddies Justin and Danny, and we're talking about BYU having the 77th ranked recruiting class, and BYU having the 65th recruiting class, and being 20 spots behind Utah. Now we are number 20 in the country, and obviously it's early signing day, so it can get better and it can get worse, right? Moving forward, but still, it is this is completely unprecedented for BYU football. And this is a we have a video from Jacob that I'd love to show to everybody. Jacob is our latest like rant, but it's not really a rant. It's a hey, this is amazing and let's enjoy it. So Jacob, take it away.
What's up, guys? This is Jacob checking in. I just wanted to give a PSA to everyone to just relax and try to drink in this moment right now as best as we can. After seeing the team celebrating with Kalani, a historic investment in BYU sports, BYU football. BYU has had 10-win and then an 11-win season. We got Dave Portnoy wearing a Bear Bachmeier game jersey everywhere on podcasts and everything and on Twitter. And we're going to the conference championship, the first ever Power Conference championship in the school's history that has huge implications. We're a genuinely good team. We beat Utah 3 years in a row now, and it's just like last night I just got the feeling that we just need to drink this in and appreciate it right now. I felt the same way after the Utah game last year, but this is even better and way more extreme because like this, barring in this little pocket of time we have right now before the conference championship game, stupid as the college football playoff committee is, we win our conference championship, we get to the playoff for the first time ever. It's just the best BYU football might have ever been in my entire life, I think. And this may be the peak. Who knows? Especially before all the euphoria of the investment in college football and Kalani and BYU wears off, and we start having to like look at those expectations and see if we measure up. We just gotta drink this in. It's just a good time. And Ohio State beat Michigan. It's just a good time to be alive. Just gotta drink it in. Go Cougs.
I couldn't agree more. What a time to be a BYU fan, right?
What a time to be a BYU fan. I love too that he shouted out like the national pundits. We've got RG3 and Dave Portnoy out
Yep.
here. I have a kind of a hot take on that as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of drama around BYU, right? Because we are being absolutely snubbed by the playoff in historical fashion, right?
Oh yeah.
But the product of that, if you think about a missionary tool, again, the product of that is, to Jacob's point, like you've got the nation talking about you, right? You've got these talking heads that are really advocating for BYU. And I would agree with Jacob that we don't really know what the future is, right?
Yeah.
But we
Yep.
know right now we can feel really good about things. And I think it's very wise to take a pause and think, I'm really grateful to be a BYU fan today.
Yep, yep, 100%. Like he said, this is probably the peak of BYU football in his life. I can say without a doubt, this is the peak of BYU football in my life.
Same.
BYU football has never ever even like come close. Like even back in '07 and '09, like those were probably the best years for BYU football besides like the last two. And the fact that BYU, like, I mean, Jacob said it all. Last thing I have on the matter is just Provo Dave is my new favorite character. He is the arc that he took after Michigan winning the national title and him being like my least favorite person on the planet to now being BYU's champion, like across the sports and social media universe. I I mean, just like it's the scripture. Come and see, like freaking
Yes.
Nathaniel or whoever it is in the Bible. Like, come and see. Provo Dave came. No, no, no. David Portnoy came and saw, and now he is Provo Dave. He went from Saul. He is now Paul, and he is a disciple. He is an apostle of the BYU football fandom.
Yes. This kind of goes in with my other point of like, what is the outcome of this whole Kalani Sitake, like this whole season, really, what BYU football has come from. It definitely after Kalani signed, we are a more united fan base. Watching
Absolutely.
watching Kalani cry about the outpouring of love that he felt from the fans like made me cry. I'm driving home from a basketball
Yes.
game. It's like snowing and I'm like tearing up. I'm like, yeah, I love you too, Kalani. Right? Um, and that love that we feel is so genuine and like pure, and people call us naive and infantile, and it's just because like that's just the best part of culture of the members of the church, right? So going back to your first point, people come to Provo and they feel that, and so they leave. RG3 is another example. Like he's been to Provo
Hmm.
twice this season, right? And left being like the biggest. The dude went to Baylor. Like he has every right to hate us as non-Christians, as they say, when we are 100% Christian. Okay, so I just want to make sure that's clear. But you know, people feel the love, and we are a more united fan base through this experience as well.
Yes, 100%. And the I you said it all. Just the love that was outpoured to Kalani. Everybody wants him to stay. There was not a single BYU fan that was like, "See ya, Kalani." Like, I hope this guy leaves. It again.
That's
What a
true.
time to be a BYU
The
fan.
only guy that I heard that wasn't like was okay with him leaving was Brian Santiago, and the jury's out
Sorry.
on whether he's a BYU football fan. Who knows? So that still stands true.
Very much so. And again, this is all happening right before BYU plays in maybe the biggest game in program history. Like I mean, Greg jinxed it all, but also put it all out like in front of us, right? BYU is playing for. Let me find the list. Let me find the list. Got to scroll
A lot of
past Jacob saying,
firsts.
"Man, I hate Greg." Win first ever Big 12 title, clinch first ever CFP berth, get two bids for the Big 12, send a message to the committee, play spoiler, avenge a lone regular season loss, rally behind newly extended head coach, first 12-win season since 2001. I, this is crazy that
Yeah,
BYU has all this momentum. Oh, and by the way, is playing in the biggest game in program history.
crazy, crazy. I can't wrap my head around it entirely. But I agree that this is the biggest game in definitely my lifetime. By 10
Oh,
times,
yeah.
it's the biggest game in my lifetime, right?
Right?
Um, and there's a lot surrounding it. So is now the time where we dive into what makes it the biggest game and we actually dive into like who we're playing and stuff? Because I've kind of forgotten about it the last 3 days. I'm not gonna lie.
I have too. It's been like the back burner. It's been in the freaking freezer, because of the Kalani news, right? The Kalani news, big picture, is the most important. This is like you said, this is the most important game in our lifetime. So it can't, it is also very big. I think for me, the biggest thing that I can do to kind of wrap my head around this moment is looking at it from like the football standpoint,
Yeah.
like getting into the actual football of it, because there is so much going on around it that it's easy to get lost. So I tend to like hone in on the specifics of the game and the game plan and that kind of stuff.
And the other thing with that is it sets your expectations, right? Let's just
Yes.
run through the history for a second. Prior to the last time we played Texas Tech, Jared and I were on this podcast feeling very optimistic about our chances. Very, very optimistic. I remember saying LJ is healthy enough to go. JoJo Phillips is back. Texas Tech hasn't played a team as good as we are. Did it? We got
Yep.
game day. We got all the momentum, right? And we got royally punched in the face. So I think we can take a lesson from that today and go in with some
Yes.
cautious, objective optimism and pessimism. We'll talk
Yes.
about both sides. And but I agree, in order to not get so emotionally like hung up and absolutely broken if we get absolutely dog walked, we do need to look at, okay, what are we expecting? And in order to win, what needs to happen? And if it doesn't happen, then we can't be upset because it just didn't happen. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think let's rip the band-aid right off, okay? BYU did not score a point in the first three quarters last game against Texas Tech. Okay? Texas Tech got the ball inside our red zone three times. Okay. Our defense only gave up 9 points, which is shocker, but it was bad. BYU played quite possibly the worst game of football that we have seen from them in a very, very long time. This is like I can't really remember a bigger stage. Like the stage is up here and the performance is down here. The gap was huge, and BYU got blown out, Jessa.
Yeah, it was bad and it could have been worse if you know what I'm saying. It could have been worse and it could have been better, right? You look at those
Definitely could have been
plays,
better.
but
Yes.
that's exactly what you said, right? Three turnovers in our own red zone. Like what are we doing? And then
Unacceptable.
yeah, that's just ridiculous. LJ was hurt. JoJo didn't have hands. Our receivers didn't have eyes. Um, we only rushed for 67 rushing yards. Bear threw for 188. If you look past his turnovers, Bear actually didn't like have the worst game. And I know that's silly. Like, hey, just take away a stat point. Honestly, watching him, like, he was not the biggest problem, is all I'm saying. Right? He was one of probably 15 or 16 players that came out and played awful. So we had to swallow that. And
Hmm.
from what I'm hearing from the coaching staff, we are very excited to see them again because
Yeah.
here's the deal. We're in an advantage as far as motivation goes and as far as changing our scheme goes. Texas Tech
Yes.
learned probably less from that game, right? That's just how it
Very
goes,
much so.
right? They have less motivation to improve because they won that game. Our so we're going to improve more between that game and now than Texas Tech is. My
Hmm.
question is, can we improve enough to actually be competitive?
Yes. I that is a perfect way to uh to describe that sentiment, because I was feeling like I was like, how do I say this? Like that but the way you put it, of them having less motivation to improve based on that game's result, is far less than ours. And we something that BYU, the players, the coaches, Hans on the radio with Greg, like they have all been talking in the post game of the UCF game alone. It was mentioned like four or five times that BYU respected Texas Tech a little too much in that game. And I remember us talking about how the receivers were not open, there was nothing there. We got destroyed. Okay. Going back and watching the highlights of that game, I didn't rewatch the whole game because I don't really want to. But going back and like watching a limited amount of film that I could take emotionally before my level was hit, um, BYU is doing so much like Max Pro with LJ staying into block, tight end staying into block, and then having like two receivers in pattern, maybe three with like a releasing tight end or a back. Like BYU was so focused on protecting Bear that he had nowhere to go with the football. Like Texas Tech wasn't really blitzing all that much. Like yes, they did blitz, but they rushed four, and we respected that so much. And I agree that it should be respected, like to a degree, because they are very good. Like these are very, very good players that Texas Tech has. But all the players have said, hey, we don't need to commit as many resources to stopping the pass rush or to doing X, Y, and Z that we did. We came out of that game feeling like, wow, we were way too conservative. We were way too we overestimated Texas Tech in a way that hampered our play style. Does that make sense, Jessa? Kind
Yeah,
of what I'm explaining there?
100%. Yeah, and it contrasts with another thing I was talking about because Texas Tech, or I was listening to this week, Texas Tech, their only loss is to Arizona State, right?
Hmm.
Baron Morton was out, but this is what I've heard. Last time I checked, Baron Morton doesn't play defense, right? They still let up 27 points in that game, which is, I
Yep.
mean, if we had scored that same amount of points, it's a game at the end, right?
Yep.
So to your point, how Arizona State did it is, oh my gosh, quarterback Levitt, Sam Levitt.
Levitt.
Yeah, Sam Levitt got the ball out of his hands in 2 seconds, right? Like, get the ball out of Bears' hands and out into the open field as fast as possible. But with long developing routes, and you only have three receivers on seven guys or six guys that have dropped back, right? That's you have to wait 5 seconds for them to find a gap. And
Right.
I love our team, but they've got the Texas Tech has the best edge rushers, some of the best in the country, right? So I don't care
Yep.
how long, like how good you are, how many guys you have in protection. The guy's coming for your freshman quarterback, who is not super mobile in the pocket, as we know. We love Bear. Horse vision. Um,
Yep.
like that's just not a recipe for success. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah. It is absolutely not a recipe for success. And like you said, you have to wait so long for them to find a gap. That's if they find a gap, since you
Yeah.
have two guys going up against seven people dropping back in coverage.
Yep.
Like you're asking for a lot there. So I think the way that you do it right is kind of the Arizona State model. Like you said, Sam Levitt was a running quarterback. Uh, 12 rushes. Okay. He only had 3 yards, but he had a long of 14. So that's taking his sacks into account, right? Um, they had Jordan Tyson had 10 receptions. And then listen to this Hamilton with three, Mateer with four, Harple with four, Raleek Brown with four. And then they had two guys with two and one. So they got everybody across the board involved. It wasn't just we throw to three guys and hope that they can catch. They were just opening up the playbook against this team. Heck, they threw for 319 yards against Texas Tech. Okay,
That's crazy.
They rushed for 75 once you subtract all the sack totals. They threw for 319. Like BYU is yes a run first team, but you have to open up the run game with the pass game. Like you have to make them defend both. You can't do this thing where we're going to keep everybody in to protect against to protect Bear so that he can throw. You're going to have to spread it out, and you're going to have to become a lot more different, or a lot. You're going to have a different game plan, obviously, than you did going into that last game, and I think that lends itself to more of a spread passing attack. Obviously, you're still going to run the ball. You still need to keep him honest. LJ is way healthier than he was, right? Plus, you're not going to be down as much as you were in that game. So hopefully, you can keep feeding that run game. But we found that we're not just going to play like our style and overpower them physically. We're going to have to go out there and like impose our will on the Texas Tech defense instead of just trying to defend when they impose their will on us.
Yeah. To your point, speaking of the passing defense, Greg, I think, tweeted out, thanks, Greg, for always tweeting. But he tweeted out earlier this week and was like, I really can't find a weakness. Like on paper, Texas Tech doesn't have many weaknesses. And that is true. Out of on their defense, they're the number one rushing defense as far as yards allowed. Okay, so this isn't
Hmm.
efficiency, this isn't advanced metrics. This is just like what do they allow, right? They're the number one rushing defense. They allow 70 yards a game. So that sounds about right. Arizona State 75, we had 67. Like that's what they
Hmm.
allow. Their scoring defense, as far as letting people score, is number three in the nation. They allow 11.3 points per game. Okay, but their
Stupid.
passing defense is still top 30. That's how weak they are, but it's 27th. They allow 190 yards a game, and that's how
Still under
Arizona State.
200.
Yeah, exactly. That top 30. So they are not bad, right? But
Right. But that's their worst
that is their
aspect.
weakness, right? So it
Yeah.
actually makes sense to me now that you're saying how Arizona State put up 300 on them. Could you think about how much that's inflating that 190 too? If you
Oh
take
my
away
gosh.
that one
Right.
game, are they at like 170, 160? That's
It's doing a
crazy.
lot of work.
Yeah, it is doing a lot of work. My goodness. So
Yeah.
I would like to see us learn from last game. And I think that's maybe the theme of the conversation right
Hmm.
now is like, okay, what did we learn from last game and over the season?
Yep. And I think our defense played well enough to win. I think
Yeah,
if Texas Tech is going to improve from performance A to performance B, I think it will be on the offensive side of things because we held their offense in check basically the entire game. Like we allowed 9 points on three turnovers where they or on three of their red zone trips where they got the ball like literally at the goal line,
yeah,
and we only allowed 9 points. But still, you take that away, they scored 20 points total. Yes, that's 20 points. That's not 10 points, right? 20 points is less than three. It's about three touchdowns. You should be able to win a game if you hold somebody to 20 points. Like
yeah. Oh,
this
yeah.
is college football, right? This isn't the NFL where we're playing 17 to 13 ball games. Like this is college football. If you hold somebody to 20 points, you should absolutely win the ball game. So
Yep.
I feel confident that our defense is at a level, especially with the health of our team as a whole, with Glasgow and Kelly not being like questionable, coming off of those injuries that they were before the bye week. I think BYU's defense is at a fine level to compete with Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech would be the best team in the country if they had a good offense, and they got a mediocre offense, right?
Right.
They BYU's defense is going to take care of business. It's going to be, can the offense take care of the ball? Can the offense move the ball? And can we score where we're in scoring territory? I would love to get touchdowns all the time, but Will, you're going to have to make some kicks, bro, okay? So I don't know what's been going on, but we need to flush, rinse, and not repeat that. We need to repeat the good kicks, not the bad ones. Okay, so I think if we need something to change, it's going to be that coming into this game.
Yeah. And your background right here, it's we're playing in a dome, Mr. Will, so you have no excuse for wind, elements, whatever. Okay.
Yep.
And if
And
you miss,
snapper
just
holder.
remember, thank you. I was just gonna say, and if you miss, remember it's not your fault. It's our snapper, our holder. Okay. So get
Yep.
them in check, Senior Will.
Yes,
Gosh.
I get taking the bullets for your guys, okay? But then you got to turn right around and hold your guys accountable, okay?
Yes.
The Falcons head coach was talking about that. He was like, "I will take bullets for for my boys all the time, and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to hold them accountable because that's what a good leader does. Is you take the blame and you hold people accountable, and that motivates people to perform their best for you because they know that you are working for them. So,
Yes.
Will, we need to hold them accountable, okay?
Yes.
None of
Okay,
this
so
like bad hold. That's my bad.
yeah, right. Will totally would too. Gosh.
He would. He's a nice
He
guy.
would. He
Can't be
would.
that nice.
Nope, can't be that nice. I'm with you. Okay, so a few things we've talked about so far about what we need to do to win. And again, let's make this list of like reasonable expectations so we don't get
Yes.
super emotional, right? So it sounds like one of them is get points up on the board. I don't care how you get them.
Yes.
We got to score in the first three quarters, guys. We got to score in the first three quarters. And then our offense needs to sustain drives,
Yep.
right? Stay on the field, keeps Texas Tech off of the field, and also wear down that defense, right? I know that it's an
Yep.
amazing defense, but the longer you're on the field, the longer you have, you fatigue the defense. And we did not do that last game.
Yep. We were 4 of 17 on conversion downs, which let me do some quick math here. Oh, that's like 24%.
Yeah, that's bad.
Um, Not good. Yes, confirmed. Not good. So yes, let's sustain some drives. Okay, let's wear down the defense. I think in order to do that, you are going to have to be able to. This sounds crazy. You're going to be able to have to run the ball and pass the ball.
Whoa,
Whoa,
whoa.
whoa! But you are going to need to run the ball effectively, and you are going to need to pass the ball effectively. You need Texas Tech to not know what you're going to do next. Okay, so A Rod, no like draws on third and long. Okay, no, no getting in those situations. We need to stay ahead of the chains, keep them guessing, throw for first downs, run for first downs. I love our option game. I think Bear is really smart with the option post West Virginia game. I think
Yeah,
he learned,
he learned.
right? And that's been working for us. The little speed option keeper that he has, that what was it? It's Cincy, the 20-yard or 16-yard touchdown run. Like
Yep,
these are the kinds of things that we need to keep in the mix and keep them guessing. It's not like, oh, it's third and long, they're going to run their short side option pitch, whatever, right?
yep,
We need to keep them guessing and then pull those out in fun situations that aren't, we're not going to throw deep on third and long, okay? Because that's
yep.
what they expect us to do. We need to be in second and short and throw long. So all of that to say, I'm very much rambling today, but you need to keep the defense guessing, which means you need to run
I
effectively and pass effectively.
Yep, I have a question for you. How many
Yes.
50, let's set an expectation. How many 50 plus yard drives do we need against Texas Tech? And we're talking to win the game, okay? Because let's be honest,
Okay.
we're playing for BYU's season. Like they win, they're in the playoffs. They lose. They're
Yep.
not even in the Pop-Tarts Bowl right now, which infuriates me more than missing the playoff. Okay. But to give you a frame of reference, I believe we had one 50-yard plus drive in our previous matchup, and that's when we scored. Will's missed field goal was 40 yards. So how many drives out of 9 or 10 possessions? How many of those need to be 50 plus?
You know what? I haven't crunched the numbers on this, but I'm gonna say you're gonna need four or five of them. That sounds crazy, and that's a lot of yards in just those four drives. But I genuinely think that Texas Tech's defense is good enough that if you get four of those, you're in a good spot to win. If you get less, then you're going to be relying on like field position, long field goals, turnovers, stuff like that. In order to win this game, you cannot rely on those things. You have to take it into your own hands, and that means driving the ball 50 some odd yards down the field and either getting a field goal or hopefully a touchdown.
That's how good Texas Tech defense is. That's crazy that we're saying how many 50 plus yard drives do we need? But we're setting expectations, okay? So I like that
Yep.
number. I like four. Three to be competitive, maybe four to put yourself in a chance to win. Five, we're
Right.
looking really good.
Yes. If you have five, like BYU's winning this thing by 7 points, 7 to 10, like I
Yep.
feel really good if BYU has a bunch of drive because that means you're getting in the red zone basically.
Right.
Right. And if BYU's
Exactly.
getting in the red zone, I feel comfortable with competing.
Yep. Okay,
Um,
that's a good one. I like that one.
what else do you need to see for BYU in order to win? To win, right? Not like what we want to see to be competitive. In order to win, what needs to happen?
This is my saying for the offense. If I have nothing else, this is what I'm saying. Punts over turnovers. Okay?
Ooh,
I want to see this is crazy. I want to see our pitching wedge punter on the field because I just don't want to give him the ball in our red zone 3 times and see what happens, right? Because that's the
yep,
question. It's like, what if we didn't muff the punt on our own 12-yard line? Like, what if
yep.
Bear hadn't done that stupid little fumble pitchy woo woo? What if Bear had just thrown it away instead of throwing it in Jacob Rodriguez's like direction? I want that question to be answered. Okay, let's punt the
Hmm.
ball. Let's punt the ball instead of giving it to them with momentum. All right, that's the other thing for the offense. Sustain drives, punts over turnovers.
I love that. The turnover margin is going to be huge. Like I think if you were told like BYU lost the turnover battle like 3-0, like I don't think you would need to see anything else and just be like BYU got killed,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Against a good team, you lose a turnover battle 3-0. I don't care how many points off of turnovers the other team scores. You're done. You're dead. You're not winning that football game and you're probably getting blown out, which we did. So
Yep.
I would love to win the turnover battle. We just need to be even. Okay. Again, I would love to win it. I think if you win it, you're in a great position to win. But as long as you're even, I think you have a chance. You have a fighting chance. because you throw a pick, you muff a punt, but then Texas Tech does the same, then you have a chance to equal whatever the effect of that turnover was. And with our defense, if we can hold them to a field goal after a turnover, I and we score a touchdown, like I'm feeling really good about that. Like I will take that trade all day. That's +4 EPA, whatever the frick you want to call it, and I'll take that.
Yep. You bring up a really good point of like, what do we need to see from the defense? Two things that you already brought up. I would love to see us get a takeaway. We didn't get a takeaway against them, right?
Hmm.
But we know that Bear and Morton can make mistakes, right?
Yep,
So to put ourselves, I mean, we almost had one if Shmev had actually stepped to the ball instead of letting a wide receiver jump in front of him. That's okay, Shmev.
that was
Next
tough.
one. Yeah. Yeah. So I bet, you know what though, knowing Shmev, I bet he's motivated to get one this game, right?
Yep,
That's so get a turnover and then exactly like you said, continue to be dominant in the red zone. Let's force. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to warn everybody. You're going to see Ben don't break. You're going to see Ben don't break. We might give up a lot of yards, but as long as those drives end in field goals, not touchdowns, that will make the game competitive as well. So that's my two for
yep.
the defense.
And that is so big, Jess. I'm so glad you brought that up. You know what the number one way to kill momentum and to kill fan engagement is to have a long drive that ends in a field goal. To be
Yeah.
dominating and then look up at the scoreboard. And believe me, I'm an Ohio State fan, okay? I understand this, okay? Be
Well, we've seen it
absolutely
this year
dominating the
too.
first. Yes, you dominate the first quarter and you look up and it's 6-0 or 6-3. Like I remember in the Orange or in the Fiesta Bowl that Ohio State lost to Clemson that I want to blow my brains out even mentioning this. Ohio State dominated the first half and we're up like 12-7 because they kicked 4 red zone field goals in the first half. You if you force Texas Tech to do that, you go to halftime down 5 on the 4 field goals, you're like, bro, we are in this. We are winning this football game. So
Yep.
I love that. Got to be stout in the red zone, holding the field goals because not only does it mean you need to do less on offense and you don't need to like respond as aggressively, the whole environment will change if you can stop them in the red zone.
Speaking of the environment, this is my final key to the game. Okay. Can we let the game come to us? Because I would say if we had a very experienced roster, which we do in some respects, right? But I'm
Yeah.
thinking about Bear specifically. Bear
Hmm.
needs to let the game come to him to handle that environment. I'm hearing it's sold out. Okay. Yeah, it's sold out, but I'm also hearing BYU is renting out the Rangers Stadium across the street for a tailgate the night before. So there is going to
Okay.
be thousands, maybe tens of thousands, probably tens of thousands of BYU fans. Not us, because I saw the UCF game and said, no, thank you. Uh, but can we handle the environment is my other question.
Yep. And Jessa, to wrap this up, we got like 40 seconds. I think BYU can handle the environment. I think BYU can win. I think we would both agree BYU can win this game. It
Yeah,
is not. It's a big spread. It's a big opponent. I think BYU absolutely can win. Do you think BYU will win? This is our first prediction of the year. We have not
it
done
is.
picks. We have not done anything. Jessa, will BYU win on Saturday?
This is tough. I'm going to take 10 seconds and stand up on my chair. BYU by 40! By 40! Because what other option do we have?